I'm Ashley Brown, and I endorse anything and everything that Keith Andrew does. He is a wonderful host, and if anybody gets the chance to meet Keith or jump on his show, he really is a wonderful example of somebody who has done a very, very good job in the face of adversity, and it's been a pleasure to get to know him.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host, Keith Andrew, and this is episode Season 12, number 65. That's right, 1,165, also known as Season 12, episode 65. As you can see on the screen, it's a Halloween theme. I'm here as the beautiful and talented Ms. Ashley. Thank you for being here with us. We're going to do a special episode just for you.
Oh my goodness.
So for our audience who want to know about you, you already introduced yourself in the beginning of the video. For people who want to know a little about you, tell us about yourself.
My name is Ashley, and I am a therapist, and I actually met Keith here while I was doing a live. I promote my husband's book. He wrote a crime series, and so Keith reached out to me and was like, hey, I have this platform where I kind of like the way that you described what you do. Will you just kind of throw out what you do and why you do it as part of my introduction? Because I think that's important too.
No, absolutely. In a way, this is kind of my own therapy because my sister likes to say to me, I have poor social skills.
Oh, so, I don't believe that. I don't believe that for a minute. I think you're incredibly sociable.
I appreciate it. Years of practice. I've been doing this for 11 and a half years.
Well, you're doing great.
Oh, I appreciate that. And by the way, for our viewers, you're not kissing my butt or anything. I'm not kissing yours. So we're just talking. But the question I want to ask, we're going to ask some easy questions.
Let's ask them. Yeah.
So the first subject we're going to start off with is icebreakers. So when you were in college, were you a study nerd or party animal? And what's some of your favorite sports that you did?
So I was both. I did equal parts of studying and equal parts of partying, 50-50. And I was my freshman year, I actually was a college cheerleader, and my sophomore year, I was a college softball player. So if you count cheerleading as a sport, cheerleading and softball, also 50-50, 50% cheerleader, so both sports equally.
Did you ever want to become a professional cheerleader?
Did I ever, competition cheerleading, so at like the high school and collegiate level, is very different than professional cheerleading. Professional cheerleading, like for an NFL team, is more like dance oriented, and there's it can be like a lot of girls who go on to have like modeling contracts, so the emphasis is like very different. So no, I never considered professional cheerleading.
A lot of people make fun of me for this, but at this point, I really don't give a damn about it anymore. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
Did you ever get the chance to do one of those human pyramids? Or are you not into that human pyramid stuff?
There were some times where we did different types of stunt work I don't think there's anything wrong with enjoying human pyramids, but you're talking about like when you grab a bunch of people and kind of stack them kind of in an actual, I have done that before. And no, I don't think there's anything wrong or bad about liking doing that. But we did do certain types of stunt work. Yes.
Would you still be interested in doing that? The reason I ask is for the younger audience. I'm a big fan of Dumbo and Jumble Book, and I do a lot of voiceovers and parodies in human pyramid challenges. I would love to have you a part of it. Your kids are welcome to be a part of it. Would that be something to be interested in?
Is it something that's like we video from home and send in?
Well, we can do it like this. We can do it over Zoom.
You can do a human pyramid over. How does that work?
Well, I physically won't be there, but you guys would do it, and then I just walk you through the steps. I
Oh,
would
I
cut the
see.
video up and make into a fan-made short
Wait, I
video
love
clip.
this. Well, maybe I would. I don't know if I have enough humans that I'm kind of antisocial. I feel like I don't know if I have enough humans that I could do that with. But it doesn't mean I couldn't. We could do a three-person pyramid, I think, with the members of my family. Actually,
And we could do the voiceovers too if you're
that's
interested.
true. Yeah, yeah.
So the next one I want to talk to you about is starting your career. Who, well, it says what attracted you, but let me ask you this in a two-part because this is going to be, I'm going to change the what to who. So it's
Okay.
going to be a two-part. Who attracted you to become a therapist and well, that's screw it. I'm going to say it how it is. Who attracted you to become a therapist and what attracted you to become a therapist?
Who attracted me to become a therapist was my Aunt Sherry. She was a counselor at an elementary school in my hometown, and she was really, really good at what she did. And she was more like a family advocate, which is not quite like a licensed therapist, but for all intents and purposes, she definitely still was very much like a counselor to the kids and the community. And then who and what, and the what was I got out of undergraduate school with I had like a general degree and I went to go work in an elementary school. And I noticed that like the emphasis of what my job was to teach kids to read and write, but I was working with a population of kids that had a lot of like traumatic home environments or were maybe like in foster placement. And so they really had a lot of emotional and psychological trauma, and they weren't really able to sit in class and focus on reading, writing, arithmetic because they had all these emotional and psychological injuries. And so I felt really frustrated with that and very like I felt so limited on how I could help them. And so then I started researching like what kind of certificate or what kind of degree do I need to help folks with those like emotional injuries. And so I found there's a few different vocational tracks, but a marriage and family therapist was what I decided I wanted to go back and pursue. But I had to go back to a graduate level of school and follow a licensure track with a licensing board. So from there, I went back to obtain all of that. And so that was the what, was being kind of frustrated that I couldn't help folks beyond helping them read and write. I wanted to help with some of those bigger psychological issues. And so, yeah.
Hey, if you're interested, I would love to work with you.
Yeah.
But the next one I want to ask you, are you or your husband, your son, professional wrestling fans? Because that's a good segue. Because tonight on the USA Network is WWE Monday Night Raw, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Western. If you like USA Network and WWE, it's also available on Peacock. Do you like
I,
professional wrestling?
you know what? I watched it as a kid, but it's not as popular as it used to be. I find so my son did not grow up with it because it wasn't like on those major. It was just on TV. It was just like readily available on um, television when I was growing up. So that's how I got into it. But I would have to. My son's 14. I'd have to ask him, but I don't even think he's really been exposed to it.
Well, the good news is, as of right now, well, this January, they're moving to Netflix. SmackDown will still be on the USA Network. It's funny enough, they've been on the USA Network for 36 years. So
Wow.
for the time being, SmackDown will stay with the USA Network. Uh, Peacock for the time being. And for the local channels, I would say you get 2, 3, 4, 11. Hypothetically, you do, right?
Yeah.
Then on every from Tuesday at 8 p.m., you see NXT on channel 11.
So there, it still is very readily available and alive. And if you want to sink your teeth into some wrestling, it's out there and it's an option. I like it.
Unless you want to pay for streaming events on Peacock, you don't have to pay for YouTube, but it's on YouTube as
Right.
well.
Cool.
So the next one I want to talk to you about is social media. As a therapist, how do you feel about social media?
Ooh, this is an excellent question. So I really feel like one of the unfortunate things about the mental health self-help industry is it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and wherever there's vulnerable populations and money to be made, I feel like there's a lot of humans out there that want to kind of generate a profit off of, like, buy this book or follow this regime or subscribe or like or follow. And in the self-help industry, I think there's these gurus that can use social media as a way to kind of rope people in with some what I think of as just like false promises. No, however, with that said, I have seen social media also. I've seen responsible humans use it well to disseminate really good information. And so I think there's a good and a not good side to it. And so what I always tell humans with social media or any type of mainstream self-help information being disseminated, no matter who the self-help guru is, you should only agree with about 75% of the stuff that they say. There should not be one person that you look to that is like the gatekeeper or the holder of everything mental health or regarding your well-being. So I always tell my humans, like, you should only really be like resonating with about 75% of the stuff that I say, and about 25% of it you should be like not applicable to me. That's not, that to me is a healthy mindset when kind of finding helpers or people who say that they're helpers on the internet. So that's kind of my thoughts on that.
No, I agree. Do you think social media is helpful or do you think it's hurtful?
I think social media is very similar to real life in some ways, in that it can be used and benefited from in a great way. I think there's a lot of positive ways that that social media is used, and then I think just like anything, I think that there can be a downside, and so using discretion is super important. And just making sure that you're not buying into everything that you see. That's the same rules that apply in real life too, outside of social media and what social media presents. So both, I think it's good, and I think there's areas like just proceed with caution, because I don't think it's all good as well.
Absolutely. For the next question I want to talk to you about, it's what were some, because how long have you been a therapist for?
Oh, golly. I've been licensed for about 10 years.
All right, so that's about, let's say 10 years. So you started in 2014.
So the way it works is when you go back, when I went back to school, I was 23. So that's been about I'm 40 now. And when you go back to grad school, you immediately start working with clients in this like very, very like supervised capacity. So I've had supervision as a counselor for about 15, 16 years, but I've been licensed independently and able to do it on my own for, yeah, since about 20, that's right, 2014, somewhere in there.
And you look wonderful, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Very great.
It's all the caffeine I drink, I'm pretty sure.
You look wonderful, absolutely tremendous.
Yeah.
I just do that just to mess with people. I just do it for
Yeah,
fun.
that's right. That's right.
But not to talk about anything political. But as long as I get to make you laugh, I
I
know
love it. I
it
love
makes
it.
me feel better about myself.
Yes.
So I'm going to pass the show over to you. You can
Yeah.
ask me anything you want. I have no cards on my sleeve.
No
Was there
car.
any subjects that you are passionate about? Anything that gets you fired up? I want to get you fired up. So you can talk about anything you like.
If I was to say that I have a passion or like a focal kind of like something that like I can easily get on a soapbox. So prior to my recent therapy job, I worked with law enforcement 40 hours a week, and I they suited me up in a bulletproof vest and tactical boots, and they sent me out with law enforcement to meet the psychological and emotional needs of our community members when they were in crisis. And so if I was to say that I am like passionate and excited about anything, that is one of the platforms and one of the things that I really, really promote as a therapist is bridging where law enforcement and social work meet to serve our community is a big thing that I'm passionate about. So that would be just like a fun fact about me or something that if I was to say that I have a subspecialty that I'm really passionate about, forensic psychology, where law enforcement and mental health meet and serve communities. I think that fixes real problems when we do that. Now, if I had questions for you and wanting to know more about you, I think I'm a little curious on what got you interested in what you do and how you do it and why.
Well, wish I had a dollar for every time I said it. I'm the youngest out of four brothers and one sister. Um, I fall under the spectrum of the R word. I'm not
Okay.
retarded, but I do fall under the spectrum. I give you an example why I say that. We're both going for a test, and it's about like multiple. I'm holding up cards, but multiple questions, and it's about multiple choices. So for me, I would have to have someone read it to me, then explain it to me.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of what A means? Can you give me an example of B means? Because I learn at a slower pace, how I learn is not how you would learn.
Yeah.
So they like to classify things with fancy labels and all that. So,
Yeah.
so I'm not the R word, even though I fall under the spectrum because I learn at a
your
slower
brain your
pace.
brain works differently is all, and that's
Yes.
that's completely and utterly, thank goodness all of our brains work differently, because it would be a very boring place if all of our brains work the same.
That's true. For my 4 years of high school, I was pretty much, give me the highlights. My 4 years of high school, I was pretty much pushed along. I took all special ed classes. They had one class named Skills, and you're supposed to teach you. Now, at the time, I was using my disability as a crutch. I was like, oh, I don't have to do this and I don't have to do that. But I call it the boomerang. You throw the boomerang. You don't have to do this. You don't have to take SATs, blah, blah, blah. But when the boomerang comes back and it hits you upside the head, you just labeled yourself as an influence, saying or influent, whatever. It's saying you're not capable of doing what Ashley's doing or
Yeah.
whatever whoever's doing, because you've been using your disability as an excuse. So how that relates to me, my brother before me used to say to people, I don't know what to do with my life. I went to college, I have these degrees, I can't get a job. My parents would say, go talk to your brother, go talk to your sister, they know people. And I said, what about me? What about you? You can't read, you can't write, you never went to college, you're not educated, you have diarrhea of the mouth, you don't shut up, you antagonize people. And he has almost of that's true. But I said, screw it. I'm going to show you with a disability. Look at what I'm able to accomplish. And for 11 and a half years, I taught myself how to come up with questions. I
Yeah.
taught myself how to present myself more professionally in front of the camera. And it took a long time, but I had this determination of showing you, and like in my catchphrase in the beginning, labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. And
Yep.
you to prove to them is them out something. So that's a will about me. I didn't, this is not about me. This is about you. But by me turning, and this is one thing I do want to say for everyone out there, by you being on my show, you're supporting a talk show host with a disability. At the same time, how that benefits you is you get to share your message and what you're passionate about. So
Yeah.
you're helping me and I'm helping you.
What a
Plus,
lovely union. I love that.
plus you're making a new friend out of it. So it's a
Yeah, that's the
win-win.
best part.
But I didn't mean to tell you a sub story. I do
No,
apologize.
I asked, so it was a very appropriate response.
Absolutely. So I want you to be brutally honest. When I
Mhm.
first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what made you say yes? And how do you feel now?
What made me say yes? Oh, I just think that you are so passionate about what you do, and I am a passion is attracted to passion, if that makes sense. And so I think just getting to be a part of how enthusiastic you were about it was the biggest thing, and I feel the same way now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, the next one I want to talk to you about is, do you have any funny stories you would like to share? Did you ever pull any funny pranks over on anyone?
Do I have any funny stories to tell? Did I ever pull a prank on anyone? Golly, this is good. I don't know. I do not know. Um, One time I drove to the Grand Canyon on a whim, and I was by myself, so I drove. It was like 4 days drive. And on my way there, I stopped at a in a small town, and there was a blue moon ceremony happening. So I was young, by the way. This is in my youth. So I it was kind of like a camp out scenario where you go to the festival, you sleep in your car, and I probably participated in one too many um, recreational drinks, and I kind of didn't remember the tail end of the night. So the next day, I wake up in my car. Literally, I had somehow acquired a bongo drum lid, and I was sleeping on the bongo drum lid. No idea where I got the bongo drum lid, probably from the festival. So I get in my car and I start driving to the Grand Canyon. And I stop for breakfast, and I go in to get breakfast, and I'm getting some funny looks, but I thought it was because I would like, oh, I probably look like I've been up all night. I eat my breakfast, I go, I pay the bill, I get in my car, and I realized at some point in the night that I had painted my face blue because it was a blue moon festival. And I had sat through an entire breakfast with like, I looked like a character out of like I don't know if you've ever seen Braveheart, but I literally had like blue, no, and so that was a funny moment in my life. My mom thought it was so funny that year she gave me a Christmas ornament with a person with blue face paint on her because she thought the story was so hilarious. And so she gifted me that following Christmas.
You could said to the waitress, "You can take away my plates, but you can't take our freedom."
Yeah, yeah, I could have. Yeah, so that's my funny story.
I got one. My mom was sitting down with her husband and her parents, and they were having like a family dinner. And they were done watching a football game. I think it's ever the Jets or Giants. I don't remember who was playing. And my aunt came over and said, "Yeah, they really won it from the behind." And everyone said, "Wait, what? They won how?" Yeah, they really came from the behind.
Oh, see, nothing like a good funny story.
That's true. I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but it was a real honor and privilege having you
Thank
as a
you.
guest. I'm looking forward to part two down the road. To let you know, you and your husband and your kids are welcome to join us on December 14th. That will be our Christmas episode.
Yay.
And on June 10th, we're doing a 12-year anniversary episode of the Keith Andrews Network. I would love to have you guys part of that.
Absolutely.
But it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest. And until we meet again, I catch you later. Thank you and have a good night.